Welcome, everyone. I hope this is working. We are back with the third episode of the Due Process Podcast, featuring a very special guest. Before we get into them, I would like to say hi. I am Mr.Doughnut. I am part of the staff team of the Due Process League, and I'm here with Zombie Bacon. How you doing? You don't? You just played Due Process? All right. Yeah. Well, first. Oh, yeah. Can you tell us that story? Okay. Yeah, the audio properties should be working. Let me check. Top tier.
DPL,
Yeah.
yeah, DPL Scuffed Cast Part 3.
There we go. Is that work? Yeah, that's. There we go.
Are we back?
Yeah, I think we're back. There we. Okay.
We're back.
Scuffed Cast Part 3.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Hey, steal
I
my
got
joke
4
just 'cause
messages.
They can hear you instead of me.
Of course. All right.
Man.
So, continue the story. The thing is that you camped out to get a fancy new graphics card.
Yeah, I'm running on about like 2 solid hours of sleep right now. But hold on, let me go.
Oh, he's gonna get it to show us.
I got my motherfucking graphics card.
Yeah.
You got
Let's
the
go.
dub.
That's great.
It was worth it.
You gonna be able to use that for top tier gaming, so to say. Run Due Process instead of at 50 frames at 60 frames, like the dream.
Ty's gonna be able to carry Fierce now.
Let's go.
He carried us before. He's gonna be able to carry us again.
I will say I have a 3070 and Due Process does in fact run at like a decent 60 frames now instead of like the 45 I was getting before.
Yeah, I'm a couple more update patches. I'm gonna go down to a solid 2 frames on my 1660.
Yo, just keep the graphics card, man. Be a pirate.
Yeah.
And
So
I would probably break a couple laws with that one.
I mean, what's the worst?
It's only breaking the law if you get caught.
I mean, I wouldn't condone that, but it's not me, sure. You know.
Donut, what's your shirt?
My shirt. Oh, so I have a new shirt. It's a bunch of dogs. It has a lot of dogs on it.
Stand
stand
up.
up.
Don't be a coward.
Okay,
Yeah,
I am very
Yeah,
like
Don't knock over the whiteboard.
right here. It's a bunch. Oh shit! It's a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Why is Donut so fresh? Look at that.
I always like to get the clothes, the fun, you know. So, we have marbles here for a few specific reasons. One, so we can roast Fierce with
Yeah, let's go.
captain here, and two, also to kind of get a more in-depth look at the players, at the teams, you know. And so, we're going to be going over a lot of things this cast, but mainly we're going to be asking Marvel's Q&A, going over some upcoming matches, and the previous matches that happened week 6, but also really kind of going into the state of the game. Don't worry, Rivals players. Rivals, you'll get your sun to shine, you know, when we say that Neo's good, all the other teams are and that's that. But we're also going to be kind of talking about
with the other teams, some of the other teams are actually really stepping up to Neo.
Are they?
So it's getting more exciting as the season's going on.
You know.
Yeah, I think Rivals is definitely very fun.
I mean, like the results don't show that. You kind of got to give them that.
Well, I mean, it's similar to what we had last season though, where right, what's wonky about Rivals is that people are able to join in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can have the best team that join like in week 6 and not be able to like touch the scores of people who've been playing since week 1.
Yeah. And we'll all get into that definitely later, but we're also kind of going to end it up with the coming off the free weekend. Was it a success? Was it a failure? We may have some strong opinions on that, but also really kind of the state of the game, kind of the state of the community in a more competitive sense. Is it going in the right direction, in the wrong direction? We'll talk about that later. But first, let's get into the hot seat with marbles. Marbles. So
Yes.
I kind of wanted to ask you, how'd you get here? Why are you the one talking about due process fall games?
Well, that's a good story. So, we're talking about my. We're allowed to talk about Alpha season, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. You know, they lifted the NDA, I think.
Okay. So Alpha season begins. I'm a beta tester for due process at this point. Barely any games under my belt, right?
Yeah.
I talked to old player Clever Clover.
Oof.
He starts a team
Yeah.
called Whiskey Wednesdays.
Okay. Who was on that team? I think we have some familiar names.
That team, oh man, that was Executioner.
I think Mackie Moose was on the team.
Mackie, C3, Temmie Shark, Gravy was on there. I'm pretty sure, or he was he was going to be. And then we had Unholy Ghost. We had a good amount of people.
Yeah.
And my first season, we were undefeated during the regular season, and then we lost to DFC in finals. I remember that. That was a great.
Yeah.
That was a great finals. And then season 1 was fluff.
Season 1 was fluff. Yeah, so a lot of people really weren't here when Fluff was around. Can you kind of give us a, so to say, what was Fluff? You know, what was season 1, so to say, and really how did that come all about?
Fluff was the team that spawned after Mackie, C3, and Exley had left Whiskey to go form their own team.
Mm-hmm.
So they had left, and then our team formed with a new roster, which I had taken over as captain of the team of. We had Frosty, Ned, Socks, Billboard, we had Gravy. We had a ton of, like, really. We also had Vane, who's now playing competitive Apex. That dude's a legend. We had a bunch of really good players that really meshed well together. It was a great roster to play on.
Mm-hmm. And you guys apparently won this season 1. And I mean, so you had something going. You won season 1. It was looking good. Now, why are you in Fierce? Where did that road take you? What cliffs have you fallen off of to be in Fierce? Yeah.
Sometimes a change of scenery is what you need. And I decided that I wanted to go to a new team during the off season of season 1. I wanted to stop being a captain, so I gave the team over to Sox, and then I went on my own way. And then I found Team Fierce. And Team Fierce, the original roster, is way different than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I ended up in a good place.
Yeah.
Fierce is good.
Fierce has a lot of great people and a Daxi on it.
Oh no.
So I have some questions regarding Fierce though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I really want to know is like when you take such a strong team like that, because you guys really are undoubtedly have really strong players like with Farrell and Diagra and yourself. Like you have a really good mix of players. And how do you get that to work? Because over the course of the season, you guys have really meshed together. And what has that process been like?
It's just the the amount of times we scrim, like every day of the week almost. We're going at it. We're trying to, get more consistent in our play. We're trying to figure out what works for when we have people that sub in and out. And having strong players like Diagray and Farrell, who have been really, really, I think that Diagray specifically has really started to shine this season in a lot of his play, and he's really stepped it up. But it's we didn't really get the results we wanted, specifically with some of our earlier games.
Mm-hmm.
But towards the end of the season, we've really started to pick it up as a team and like shown that we can get the results that I think we should be getting against teams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we talk about fierce, like Farrell was added to the roster, and I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of people had their doubts. People were like, "Oh, Farrell, it's ex Siege gamer. Like what is this? He's not even good at the game. Oh, he's 40 games in. He's trash. He's garbage." I was one of those people, And I mean, Farrell kind of going to the roster added a lot of firepower that you guys kind of lost last season with a particular vitals kind of leaving the scene. And so I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the addition of Farrell. Where is that taking you? How far can one player take you?
Listen, all those doubters now we want a piece of the pie. That's all I gotta say. You feel me? Everybody wants Farrell now. But I will say that Farrell's probably, he has that previous pro experience. He was a player for R6, so he's a very cool dude to play with. He's very passionate about his gameplay, and he wants to win. He has that drive, and he's as cracked as he is jacked, fellas. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's true. Now, speaking of cracked and jacked, I want to talk about Dia really quick. It says,
yeah.
how do you stay focused with such raw sexual energy that is just embodied within Dia when you're playing the game?
Man, I don't know myself. I just gotta get used to it. It's always it's always at the back of your mind. And then you also got Stars and Diagray living together, dude.
Yep.
It's unmatched.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, like those two are great, and we have this really good roster on paper. But of course, you do have some miscalculations, and I think we want to talk about the beginning of this season. You guys didn't really have a good start in the season. You guys are sitting at 3-3, fourth place in the standings right now, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion on why is that? Why do you guys have that such slow of a start? Where is it? Are you going to improve? You're kind of going to show that, hey, we're not just a middle of the pack team.
I think our main issues was just carving out like our play style as we went more as season, and we did have that top heavy schedule that really can be a punch straight to the gut. We had Nemesis Yakuza right off each other, and I think that the Nemesis game, I mean, it's Nemesis, right? Like best team in the league, but Yakuza game did go to OT, and I think we could have definitely won that. And even the Rise game is just, Argo had one of the best games in ever in DPL, right? And he played out of his mind. Like, I would love to replay those teams because I think we could, take them on. I feel like the Goi game was very important to us because it showed that, we can have those games where we just pop off and play the way we want to play.
And I mean,
now,
we all
wait, just a second. Speaking of the Goi game, you guys have to back up a lot of shit talk that Adaxi just like unregulated just spits out. And I wanted for the record to say that Adaxi went 0-8 the first game.
Did you win though?
The first game of that series. No, we didn't win. But I just want to say, how is carrying the weight? Carrying the weight of Adaxi's mouth?
We ran so Adaxi could sprint the game 2 because he went 12-7 game 2. So we carried him through that game 1, and then he did something game 2. But I will say that's just free ammo for the future, Zombie. Adaxi says something, bam, 0-8, bam, right in the chat.
Right,
back.
No, exactly. I'm just saying. I mean, because what's great about Adaxi is you guys talk about you talk shit about Adaxi too on the same team. It's great, and I think I'm really happy you performing this well, and I can't wait to see you guys eventually in finals, particularly on the the arc that you guys are on now.
Mm-hmm.
Last season you had such a strong play with going into taking it all the way through finals, getting to the grand finals. Unfortunately, dropping it against Mazer, but those were hard fought games. Both games were 7-5,
Mhm.
and I mean,
I
you
think
guys could definitely turn out the result.
I think our roster is stronger than it was during back then. But you also have to think that Nemesis has also become stronger with
Yeah.
the addition of their
Mhm.
players. So
Yeah.
it goes both ways. I think if we had Farrell on that last finals, who knows what would happen? But at the same time, like you don't know, right? So I think that every team has grown this season particularly. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
where teams start really getting like their shtick, like what really makes them play like their play style. And I think Nemesis is just they have it figured out.
Yeah.
Like they know how to win, right? And
Mhm.
they play the mental game better than any other team. Like they you go into the Nemesis game like, oh well, this is Nemesis, right? And then that's over. They've already won the mental game. But I think that Nemesis is the team to beat. But I also think that you can't gloss over teams like Yakuza and Rise. Rise especially. I'm gonna be honest. They came out swinging out of nowhere. I don't even think that people had that prediction for them on how well they would end up doing.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people thought that they're a good team, mini Mazer slash Nemesis, but I mean to be this
Mhm.
good, this consistently, it's like that was impressive. It really was. And I have this kind of thought that when we go into playoffs, we might see a stronger Rise that can kind of take Nemesis toe to toe, and we'll get into that definitely later. But the question now is, can Fierce
Mhm.
kind of take Nemesis and Rise toe to toe? I think you guys can if you're in that right
Mhm.
mental game. But um, uh, tell us about it. Tell us, can
Strange, yeah.
straight up,
Strangely
can you
enough, I
win it?
actually feel like I think I just think Marvel's. I want to know your thoughts because I feel that you have an easier matchup versus Nemesis than you do versus Rise. Just as a team, I think Fierce versus Nem is much closer than Fierce versus Rise at this point.
I you know I'm not trying. I think both games would be extremely close, and I think that Rise would technically could be a harder matchup depending on how a player like Arco is playing because he did. I'm not trying to say he solo carried, but he literally like those games he literally put his team on his back and was like, "We're fucking going." Right. So
He made
the
everyone sweat.
Rise
Like it was insane.
Rise has a great team if you have those pieces that are individually popping off, right? But that's every team. You have your players who hype up the rest of the team and go, "Let's fucking go." That's gravy for us, right? Like anyone's ever played with gravy, he's your hype man. Like he's the guy that even if you lose a round, like it's like, "Let's freaking go next. Let's just focus up." And I think that's also helped us as we've gone deeper into the season is having that mental reset of like, hey, we may have lost this round, but we need to just focus up and go next. And I think that teams are really starting to take shape on like oh well we have this like we you're starting to see like pieces of like rosters like start to take shape of like you got your like hard fraggers, you got your IGLs, you got your people who really run under the radar but are very important to each team. Like I would say that's stars for us. Like he's not that flashy type of guy, but he can get kills for you in situations where you need him to get kills. And he's that anchor and
Mhm.
backside, right? So sometimes it isn't about being that guy who's like, I'm gonna top frag top of the standings. I'm gonna be that guy who's always showing off. It's just having those people who can consistently play like I think as we get into playoffs, it's not going to be about individual play. It's going to be about consistency. And can your players go from match one to match two and do the same as they did at match one?
I think that's very interesting to definitely talk about, and we can talk about that. But I think a very big, so to say, consistency issue is really also, I hate to kind of say it, but the game is in a very weird state right now, and we'll definitely talk about it. But like, how do you think individual maps play do you think they play a huge role, or is it more just like, no, the team is the biggest thing, instead of just like, you can get a bad map, you got a bad attacker map, sucks for you.
I think that maps are very underrated and how important they play to certain teams. If you look at a team like Yakuza and their playstyle on Kill House on defense, it's like that's their map. Like that's the map where you have to think about how you actually want to beat them in that map. And a lot of teams have maps, certain like tile sets where they will play better defense and they will play better attack. So I think that maps are starting overall to start actually having an effect on how certain teams play. But I still think that we need more elements into the game for that to really take shape, because we're still missing like things like destructible environments, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big part of previous seasons, especially in C-Store, like shooting out the shelves or just in general. But the game is right now, in like you said, in a spot where you're at a point where what happens when all these big gameplay changes get pushed? Like, how does each team look after that? And that's gonna really decide who's top. How can these like after maybe if defending sided gets more tools, or maybe if attacker sided like even gets another boost, better than it already is. Like, how does that affect teams who are at the top right now and who are getting results?
Yeah, and I mean, we can kind of go on about all that day, what changes in take place can be taken. But I mean, if we want to talk about results, we kind of can talk about results. We have last week right here, and if you kind of jump into it pretty abruptly, let's talk about last week. Let's say that last week was kind of suspected in a weird sense. Like, if we go over,
so we could get it out of the way that Fierce absolutely thrashed us.
Yeah, let's get into that first. How was that game for both of you?
I will say,
both of you.
Game 1, I dumpstered on marbles in the clutch. That's all I cared about. Game 1, that was it. But no, I feel like Fierce is just they came better prepared at the end of the day. I think an issue with Goy right now is like there's this kind of split in either being done with the game and kind of on their way out and wanting to still be a part and play the game. And I think that really came up here is like certain people just were not in the correct mindset for anything. And Fierce came and they wanted to win, and they did. And as much as I resent to say it, because Adaxi's gonna rub this in my face, that Fierce honestly did deserve the win there. 100%. Everyone but Adaxi deserved that win.
Oh my gosh!
It was a good game. Like the score doesn't really do it justice. Like a lot of those rounds came down to 1v1s. Like if you go back and you watch through, easily could have been especially game 2 could have been a 5-7 game going either way. But I will say that like I think that, like you said, Zombie, you guys are, as a team, some of your members may be thinking like this is like we're on the way out.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen after this season? And like the mental game, like we talked about, is very important now. It's how are you gonna play when your mental boomed, or how are you gonna play when you're already expecting the result, right? And I think Goy is a good team, and I think they can produce results. But if you're already thinking like what's gonna happen next season, then you're not gonna play well in the current season.
And we can kind of rag on Goy all we want. The lovely people over there, so sad after losing the king reign. But I mean, with them all moving to Valorant, it's now we kind of have to look into like, what about these other teams? What about the Wichita Wolves / Rise versus Yakuza game? That was kind of more one-sided than really people expect. That was a cleanup. 7-3, 7-0, both games to Rise. Like, what?
I heard from Ghetto that I heard not good. I heard from Floggle, sorry, that that game won even they were 4v5.
Oh, yeah, it was
right?
a 4v5. Yeah, that's true. That was 4v5.
Yeah, so
okay, I forgot about that.
Over here talking shit on the Europeans. He's like, oh, it was a cleanup. It was a 4v5, my man. You can't hit anything in the game.
I forgot that was a 4v5.
They did say they could have won game 1. That they were that if they had clutched up a little bit more, and like you said, it's a 4v5. But I had also got the impression that they had gone in like they wanted to do it 4v5. Like I think they could have. I'm not sure what the issue was, like who couldn't play, but that is, like also like an issue with smaller roster teams is what happens if we can't roster 5 for a match.
So
right?
do you think teams should have 8 players no matter what, even if it's just like a 60 game player that cannot play, as long as you can get that player in?
I think that every team should fill their roster.
Yeah.
And I think that we're not at a point where it's like, oh well, we could just have 5, like because it's not like people are contracted to play this game. No one's like actually making enough money from this, right? So it's like you will get people who have to work, who have to suddenly something happens, and you can't keep your whole life around DPL. Unfortunately, I mean, I do. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, like a lot of people.
When you're not getting graphics cards, it's all DPL.
You're not sleeping in the trunk trying to get that graphics card.
Dude, that's why I do it. I do my graphics card runs on weekdays. Weekends are for DPL.
Oh my god.
But, yeah. I think that having a full roster is almost needed now because not everyone's gonna be able to perfectly show up to every match. I don't think you need 8. Like you don't need a full roster. Like I'm not saying you need to like get like everyone, but having at least 7 or even 6, like just one extra guy could be the whole difference between having to forfeit a game and being able to win because we do like Fierce as a team. We use all our subs.
Yeah.
Like we've used Kai in the game. We use Kai against Rats, and we use Gravy. He comes in and out, and Addix too.
Addix is a sub.
So
confirmed.
Addix isn't a sub
yet,
but he's also a sub. He's both. He gets subbed in for Gravy, the Gravy train.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sub him in whenever he talks too much shit, and they need him to like back it up himself.
That's always good, and I mean, we want to kind of jump in. Like, this Nemesis smacked LCG around. That's nothing new. Nemesis is still going undefeated, but I think the closer game, and that still needs to be played, is Rats versus Gnomes. Let's talk about that. Rats kind of coming in as their own team. They look a bit clean. With Kino being added, Shriekle kind of coming back. They look like a pretty decent roster. Marvelous. Like, are they good? Or is it just hype? Are they just playing bad teams? Or is it like actually something to watch out?
Like, legitimately, Rats is playing better. Like, just overall. Like, it's not just that teams are playing bad against them. And I get that. Yes, teams are kind of, not playing well against Rats. Fierce didn't play well against Rats. We still won. But you're not giving Rats enough credit for how much they've grown as a team across the season. They have consistently played better into each game. And with Kino being picked up, I think that's becoming a roster that could produce results. And we're seeing it with their most recent games. I think Rats can win this. They can force OT here. It isn't hard to force OT here. You just win the next match, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's getting streamed, but I think it would be an amazing game to watch to see can Rats force OT and then push the issue, and it'd be an important game for Rats. Like that would be like an identity game. Like, can we focus up and actually, beat Gnome?
Yeah, and
But
I think Rats are kind of confirmed for relegation. I mean, it actually depends on if they win this game and then win the next game against Nemesis. Then I think they can skirt relegation. But let's say they win this game, and then have to go into lose to Nemesis like every other team in the league does. They go into relegation, but they'll be like seventh, sixth. And do you think that the survive relegation coming in out of that, do you think that we might see Rats, if we keep kind of the league format next season, do you think that Rats is going to be a competitive team,
I think there's rivals teams Rats could beat? Yeah. But if they go against Neo, I'm sorry, no. Like
if they go against, let's say they go against Kitura,
yeah.
Kitura, like I think Rats could stay. Like I don't think it's impossible. It depends on what teams go ahead from that relegation tournament, right? Because it's not just top 3. It's an actual bracket
tournament.
Like,
yeah,
you have to fight to get a relegation spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that actually affects who goes through. Because I'm going to be honest, you can do as well in the regular season as you want, but it affects every sports. Playoff teams are playoff teams. There are some teams that will just play better in a playoff scenario.
Yeah.
And relegations is a playoff scenario. So, we might see teams that really shine in these straight up best of 3 situations that are everything's on the line. So, we don't know. I think Rats could definitely beat some teams.
Yeah, I mean, like, we will have to sacrifice LCG to Neo coming this season. And that's just something that we all have accepted. But, like, now it's can Rats...
I don't think you're sacrificing LCG for Neo. I think it's a fair trade.
So
honestly,
I
think it's more like we're sacrificing LCG to Neo.
There.
I think we're sacrificing LCG to Neo,
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Neo is not the sacrifice, man. Neo plays too well to be the sacrifice. I know I bag on LCG, but yeah. Yeah,
Zombie,
Marbles.
If Goy goes relegation, because I'm not trying to like be toxic. That's like a real.
It's a very real scenario. Yeah.
Do you think? Are you scared of any team besides Neo that you have to play against?
Besides Neo?
Yeah.
I would say Kitura just because historically we have Euro matches are never fun for us.
Man, sitting in those Discord calls with Mackie and Fairs. Ooh.
Yeah, no, just like I don't know what it is, but whenever we play a Euro team, we always have like an obscene amount of ping issues. And that's not like I'm not trying to like roll over the fact that Kitura is a great team, but like it's just I don't know what it is, but every time we've had to play, like even when we played Rats, it was like, okay, what's going on? I mean, like Marbles, you experienced the whole fucking team-wide lag detected except for 2 people during our match. I think that was game 2.
I've never seen anything like that before. My shotgun shot and killed Fairs and made no noise or any bullets. It just killed him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just remember Farrell walking up to the bomb in slow motion and then defusing it, and we were all like, I can move. I'm trying to move. I can't go anywhere now. And, of course, we talk about that, and my webcam goes crazy.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good thing. Sorry, you can go ahead.
I mean, like, we all have kind of experienced a lot of pretty bad server issues, recently, Is that going to affect is that going to kind of throw a wrench into a lot of people's plans? Are you guys scrimming less because of it? Are you guys playing less because of it? Because coming from Marbles, especially you play a lot, I'm pretty sure it's like these server issues, even the few times I play like once or twice a night, it's pretty bad.
I think that we harp on the devs a lot. But server stability, like these server issues, like really do need to be fixed before we can because if it's really bad, you would have to like legitimately consider postponing playoffs, right? because you can't
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
And we've had another map bug issue, and that
Oh
did
my
affect
gosh.
Rats versus Gnomes. That
Yeah.
like legitimately changed like game 2, that 7-5. That was because of a half reset, right?
Yeah.
You gotta think
Yeah.
like like and games shouldn't be affected because of a map not loading properly, right? That shouldn't be a thing. So I know the devs have in their own part have really improved everything as the season's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yeah.
free weekend also showed how the servers are still not in a good spot for scaling properly when you get a bunch of new people coming in. Now, are they working on it? Oh hell yeah, man. That's like that's like their main focus, right? Like that's what they've said. We are focusing on fixing these servers and making them properly work, right?
Putting Ozzy to work, like
Yeah.
it's
So
Yeah.
it really
The
is
man
kind
who
of
already worked.
it honestly, but I mean, we can talk about server issues, but we can't
Yeah.
really do much about them. But we
Well,
can talk about and what's up, zombie?
Well, what I was gonna say too with the server issues is they've, in my opinion, they have gotten worse over the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a level of instability that I don't know if Marbles would agree with me, that wasn't there at the beginning of the season. Certainly wasn't experienced last season out of the occasional someone lags out. But I think within these past few weeks, the pause feature we have has been a godsend.
Yeah.
But in
Oh my
terms of
gosh.
but like in terms of really doing anything with the game,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to when the servers are in such a state.
Yeah.
like we could talk about how like the servers have affected competitive play, right? And like they do affect competitive play in a lot of ways. Like don't get me wrong, like the way servers are just not how is not feasible in how these say. And I think me and Zombie can agree on that. They need to fix these
Well, I
issues.
don't think that
Because,
Get primarily controls where the servers are. I think that they kind of outsource it to another company. So we can't
yeah,
rag on
I
Get too
don't.
much.
I
They only have so
Yeah,
much like ability to, but
I don't think
Yeah,
it's that. I
it's
think
yeah.
it's just like sometimes it feels like when they introduce a new feature that it does sometimes does a little bit more harm than good. And it sometimes does wonk out the service a little bit. But they have
I think
always
that
been
the game does.
quick. Yeah, they have always been quick to fix those issues. So, I think the servers personally have felt great, but they have like the new hit because they have been trying to improve hit reg, right? It's been introducing some more instability issues maybe. But, I'm not a game dev. I can't speak for the devs. I'm sure they're trying as hard as they can to make these servers as good as
yeah,
possible.
Get cares a lot about this game. They really do.
It's really strange. It's really strange though, because like hit reg, like I think we can all agree that hit reg when the servers are running feels so much better than it ever
Mhm.
has.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Like the game itself when it runs so good. But when we take into the fact that like it's just an instability thing, like the servers just aren't able to handle this like newer workload. And I think like at least from my perspective and like from my experience with my team, it's hard when like we do have lives. Like I start a new job very soon. Ferris has a job, Mackie has a job, and then most of our other teammates are in school, and so they're doing things with finals and all these things, right? So it's hard to when during the week when you have like a few hours to spare, it's always like, do we scrim or do we try and enjoy the like 2 hours we have of playing video games? That's not that we know is not going to just lag out and
Mm-hmm.
absolutely take a brick.
Yeah, and
And so I think for most people, like the motivation to play the game just isn't there right now in terms of like just playing.
and like this can be a different team issue. We see like Adachi Lole says that they just constantly scrim. I see teams like Genesis and Rivals that they scrim or they play all the time. And so there are those teams that are out there definitely playing a lot, and there are those players that are playing nonstop. We still have people like Control who don't stop playing, who probably has 3,000 games by now. And so it's definitely more like it can be from team to team. But I think that the game is in a weird state, and we will be getting into it a bit later on. Is the game in a state where it's like, hey, this is good. Like, we should be happy about this. And I don't think we can really definitely say that, at least in a fundamental sense. The fundamentals of the game, like in terms of server issues, hit reg is fine. It's the server issues. It's the tick rate. And that is something that we can't control. And I don't think Gek can heavily control. You know, they still have to talk to a lot of people, and we can't rag on Gek too much. But it's a thing that's like, this is affecting new players. This is affecting old players. It is driving a lot of kind of like, I'd rather go play, I don't know, like Divinity Original Sin 2 with the boys instead of whatever, you know? And so it's tough. It really is. And I think we can kind of talk a lot about that in depth a bit later, but I also do want to look into next week. You know, looking into next week, we see some pretty bog standard games. You know, it's Nemesis versus Rats and Goi versus Yakuza Saturday, and then Sunday it's Fierce versus LCG and Gnomes versus Rise. So if we want to get into it, we can, but I think that the results, or just the teams facing each other, may speak for themselves, you know. Like, do you guys have any thoughts about this upcoming week? I mean,
unfortunately, Donut's right. Like, if we're going off like purely like who you expect to win, like there's not a lot of leeway here. Like, the only match that I could truly see having some leeway is Gnomes and Rise, right? Gnomes could beat Rise. Rise could just stomp the floor with Gnomes. Do I think? But then again, is anything set in stone? No. Like, we can't just say for a fact, like, this team's going to win, that team's going to win. I mean, maybe except for Nemesis beating Rats. Like, I think we can all say, like...
Well, and Fierce beating LCG.
Yeah, hopefully,
right,
you know, like...
I mean, dude, after that Rats match...
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. But,
yeah,
like, Yakuza versus Goi, like, that's an important game for Goi, right? We also have to keep that in mind. Because, let's say that if Gnomes loses to Rats, and then Rise beats Gnomes, and Goi beats Yakuza, then Goi doesn't get relegated, and Gnomes does.
Yeah.
But if Goi loses, then they go relegation confirmed. So.
And who knows what's gonna happen if that happens?
So
right,
of course,
Zombie?
This is the point of the podcast. Yeah, so we got Jeff, right?
Jeff, let's go.
Jeff is here, the face of the pod. Jeff has some choice takes. He thinks that Rats can actually take a game on them.
What?
He thinks it's possible with Kino. Like he thinks it's possible. He's not saying it's going to happen, but it's a distinct possibility. Like, Rats is looking not bad.
Oh, no. Yeah, Rats isn't looking bad. Take a game off Nemesis not looking bad? Man, I don't know. That's a little too much for me.
Here's why. Because also, like, we know that... I think it's big news. The man, the myth, the legend, Smith is coming back. Man is coming back. I know he's playing in finals for a fact. I heard him say on stream the other night, and I'm really happy to have him back and playing in the league. And there's a few reasons why, and I think the main reason is that my understanding of what Smith said is he is no longer with Gek anymore, so he is now able to come back in the league. There is no longer that conflict of interest. And Smith's a little rusty, I would think. I know Smith's good, but I think, like, man, if he plays in this game, and if Kino and Shriekle do their absolute most, of just, like, piles and piles of G Fuel, I think they can maybe do it. Like, I think they can, like, I'm not talking, like, win a game, like a tie. I think they can tie. Like, I think they can take 6 rounds.
That's tough.
But LCG has no chance.
Are you saying Rats is going to be the only team to take a game off Nemesis this season?
That's what I want that to happen. Like, I don't know if it will happen, but like, I can want it to happen.
That would be
awesome. Not gonna lie, dude.
That would be really nice.
That'd be like the most like script, like we wrote the script for DPL type thing. Nemesis goes all the way, not dropping a single match. They get into Rats. Kino comes out. He's as cracked as he is jacked. with Treacle, takes a game off Nemesis. It's a story that couldn't be written better. Story for
Yeah.
the
And
this
that would be the game to be just analyzed to all hell. Every round you go through is like, this is what Rats did. And then Rats is going to be able to say to everybody is like, we took a game off Nemesis. Like, that's what I want to happen.
We told you guys. We were good. We told you guys.
Pyron's next 4 insights into DPL where he breaks down a round is just going to be every round Rats won.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Infinite content for anyone.
Yeah. And I'm gonna wager the same bet because I'm shocked LCG managed to take 3 rounds off Nemesis. Marbles, this is to you. I will gift 14 subs to the DPL chat, and I will buy every member of Fierce a game of their choice if they 14-0 LCG.
If we 14-0 LCG?
Yeah, if you do not drop a single round versus LCG.
Okay.
That's getting clipped.
Clip it. I want to hear
Clip
this.
Clip it. I will do it.
Dude, you
this
think
is Jeff himself is here.
You think we were sweating versus Giroi? Dude, just you wait. That game's gonna be.
That's amazing.
So we have to 14-0 them, and you get 14 subs, right?
14 subs to the chat, and I will buy every member of Fierce a game.
All right. That's
all
right.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing it.
That's
Jeff himself will deliver it to you. I will.
Wait, what was
Jeff will take a ride in the shipping crate to you.
What was your bet last week? Because you had a bet last weekend, right?
Yeah.
You had a bet.
The same bet.
I did the bet. If Nemesis 14-0'd LCG, I would give 14 subs to the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm stepping up the game. I'm stepping it up now because I want to see it happen. And Jeff will consider making an appearance. I will send Jeff to you so that way he can give you his hot takes in person.
That's amazing. I mean, we talk about Zombie. We talked about Rats and Fierce and Gnomes and Rise, but I mean, what about you guys? You guys think you can do anything against Yakuza?
I mean, we scrim Yakuza quite frequently. They're probably the team we scrim the most frequently. I think we can. I don't know if we'll win the match, but I think we could take a game. I think for the most part, it's fatigue at this point, and I know that I can guarantee that going into the match, I want to win it, but I don't know if I can say that confidently for the team as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that just says it better than anyone. Coming from the horse's mouth, it's. What does Jeff have to say?
Yeah, the deer's mouth.
The deer's mouth now.
Yeah. Are you gonna really disrespect Jeff like that? Does he look like a horse to you?
No, it's a saying.
Do you not know like a horse to you?
No, do you not know the saying?
Does he look like a horse to you?
He doesn't look.
He doesn't look
like a horse to me. But does he look like a horse?
No.
No, he does not look like a horse.
Do you not know the saying coming straight from the horse's mouth? Is that just me?
Yeah, I know the saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the saying, Donut. I'm just saying he's not a horse.
I see that. Oh, that's something.
Yeah, do you, Donut? I need you to apologize to Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, I apologize for calling you a horse when it's obvious that you're like a buck or a moose or whatever. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a biologist.
Man, we're done here.
You're full of shit,
we're
Donut.
Done here.
Jeff is never talking to you again.
Oh no.
It's okay. I gotta go put him down now.
No.
Put him down.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, with Jeff away, let's talk about rivals. DPL's younger brother, and pretty expected. Wow, Neo won. Okay, we're done. That's it. I'm kidding. Let's talk about rivals.
Neo on top, baby.
Neo on top. If we have Neo 7-1 for Fraggers both times. We have Kitura or however you say it, as I've been told 3,000 times. 7-4-7-0, the Fridge Knights. Pogfish 7-2-7-3, Red Team. Genesis 14-0ing Obscurum. I think this was maybe a forfeit. And then Organized Chaos losing game 1 to Dome Defenders 2-7, and then winning game 2 7-5. And so, I mean, if
you know what's sorry. I just want to say, what's crazy about that is Genesis is a new team, and they're
I think it was a
already
forfeit. We heard from Pi on that it was a forfeit.
yeah. But they're already ready to take a playoff spot. Like they're they're 9 points.
Oh wow, yeah. If they win,
right below. Yeah. They win next week. Like that's that's like genuinely like awesome. Like I think that's cool. Like you got a new team. We got some familiar faces that are in Genesis, but they've really been grinding to maybe even make it to the relegation tournament. So that's what I want to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also now we should make note that the Dome Defenders that we did see play Organized Chaos last week are now Vultures.
Yeah.
But it's Vultures without Kino the Vulture. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's been a lot of hot drama coming off the press from Vultures, though. Ra the Sun God has a lot of hot takes. And I got to say it. I think if anyone saw my nickname for a while on the DPL server was Rivals Drama over DPL Drama. And I got to say, I'm glad to see it.
Olivius was like, hey, we should get like one of those Argus guys, have his arms crossed and over like a CSGO surfing montage, and he just talks about drama and hot takes for like 20 minutes. So I'll upload that to YouTube.
So a question for you guys.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Does Neo Katura, does Neo 2 Katura?
Yeah. Oh.
After okay. Listen, I know we're saying Neo immediately 2-0s, but they did drop a game to Katura.
They had 2 subs.
That actually happened.
They had 2 subs.
Okay, listen, man. If you can't play good with your subs, then you gotta play your subs more.
I just think mainline Neo is one of the most unstoppable forces in like due process.
But that's any team though. You play your main line.
Well, okay,
right?
we can talk. But I think mainline Neo could beat you guys. Like I don't think that's a hot take.
No, I don't think so either. I think mainline Neo could beat a bunch of DPL teams.
Any team bar maybe Nemesis.
Like mainline Neo could beat Nemesis, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like come on.
Like we talked about. How much can you always confirm that you're gonna have your main line?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's
like,
true. Yeah, we did.
And that's what I mean. Like your subs. You have to have subs that can play as good as your main line. Not as good, but hold to a standard, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a lot of teams can't do that.
Mm-hmm. I think the only team that can do that is Nemesis. Well, that's because their sub is 6-sided.
Yeah.
It's like
we haven't seen 6-sided play though yet.
I think we have. I thought we did.
We have not.
We haven't.
No, he has not played this season.
I don't think he's played an official match this season. But 6-sided on ice, doing his sniper things. Eric's nicer than ever. It's a good time.
Yeah, we just heard from Josh that 6 played.
6 did play.
Yeah, I think maybe
what game was it?
I think the LCG game.
We're wrong. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Game 2 LCG. He played one game.
LCG.
So that's why you guys dropped 2 rounds instead of 1. Okay.
Oh, that's wow.
I mean,
that's some big words.
I kind of agree, but like, if we just want to get off Neo, like, what about teams like Pogfish, Risky Fragus, Katura? Like, how are they looking from your guys' lens, from Marble's lenses? Any players that stand out?
I love my boys over at Pogfish because Fishy. I love Fishy. He's been great friend. He's friend. He talks to my girlfriend more than he talks to me now. But that's just how things are. But Fishy is a great person. I scrimmed with him because he needed a sub, and I told him that he has to play better. Mm-hmm. And you know what? He played better. He stomped Red Team. So you know what? Good job, Fishy.
That's amazing. I mean, if we kind of want to go with
Fishy on the ups, finally.
Fishy finally there. He's on the up and up. After being free from Red Team, he's back. It seems that like every single player that leaves Red Team, and as someone who loves Red Team, every single player who leaves Red Team kind of just goes out and does better. It's like Mace, Sat Rams.
Red, let's be honest. Red Team doesn't even love Red Team. Yeah.
Oh.
Red Commissar hangs around the Goy Discord a lot. And I feel so bad for this man because he's just accepted his fate. We're always, whenever he tries to talk about the game, because he's always like, "Oh, back in Alpha," we're just like, "Shut up, Red. No one cares about Alpha anymore."
But back in Alpha, kidding.
Do you guys think this top six right now stays, or do you think that teams like Red Team and Genesis could be looking to steal some spots going into
Red
Rivals?
Team cannot steal a spot. Genesis can. I think Fridge Knights are one of those teams where they do very exceptionally against newly played teams, but they don't play enough. And I think if you talk to Survivor or Puffy Rex, they admit it. If you don't play, they don't play enough, so they don't have that kind of the ability to beat those experienced teams who play all the time. But I do think that if Genesis can beat Fridge Knights, we're going to see a Neo, Katura, Frisky, Pogfish, Vultures, Genesis top 6. And I think that's not that insane. But it kind of goes the other way around. If Fridge Knights beat Genesis, it's going to be the other way. And so it's
promotional. Not going to lie, this promotional tournament's going to be hype.
It is. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited to watch it. Matches getting streamed, right?
I'm pretty, yes. Right? Yeah. Because it's all going to be after DPL.
Should be streamed. Yeah, matches are planned to be streamed. Yes.
Dude. But I'm like genuinely excited to see how like an actual bracket of 6 teams fighting for 3 spots turns out.
I'm excited for the picks after, as the DPL teams pick the lower teams. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I was talking about someone about that whole relegation system.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be. They bring up a good point. It should be the rivals team picks the team they want to play against. I think that if you're getting relegated, you should be at a disadvantage, right? I think letting the rivals teams pick who they want to play against could be way more interesting than letting the DPL teams pick who they play against. Because when you have the rivals team picking, I think there's way more give. Yeah. When you have the DPL teams picking, you could probably almost predict who they're gonna pick. But
well, I feel like Neo would pick LCG either way, just for the safety of it.
Well, yeah, but any team would pick up, like...
What safety, though? Like, they can beat any team. There's no safety to it. It's like, okay, let's take out... No, because we feel like it.
I actually like that, though.
Yeah.
I really like Marvel's point, though, because I think, we might see, like, some of the same things happen, but I think by putting the ball in the hands of the teams who want to move up, it's such a harder decision versus, like, okay, where do we think we can be? They have to go, okay, we are going up against in DPL teams now. And you get a different psychology of it where it's like, okay, let's say you have to choose between Goy and Gnomes. We think we can beat Gnomes, but we feel that our play style is more comfortable against Goy, so we'll take Goy instead, right?
Yeah.
I think I really like the idea for Marbles, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that Neo would pick like the high, like they wouldn't pick LCG. They just go like whoever they want and they could beat them. Right?
Yeah.
Like let's be real.
It's like
yeah.
So, it's probably like, who talks the most garbage and bot stuff? Okay, let's take them out. Med's been typing up a storm. All right, Med, you're out of DPL.
That would be give a bad day to?
Yeah, exactly. Who do we hate?
Yeah, whose day do we want to? They would start taking tributes like, hey, I'll give you $20 if you don't play me in relegation.
What team do we want to make disband?
LCG.
I think, but truly, a lot. I do think that if you're a DPL team that gets relegated, there's a huge chance you just disband. Like that's how I feel about it.
If Fierce gets let's say Fierce were to get relegated, it's done deal. Would you disband?
I think there's a huge chance that the team would disband because I think that everyone on Fierce could fit into a different upper league team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I think any team would like want to get Daigure and Stars. It's not even like those two.
I think also beyond. I think beyond that, if you get relegated at this point in the game's life cycle, I feel that about half of the players are going to not want to play competitively anymore.
Yeah.
So Marbles is 100% right.
Yeah, and
I think that like especially if you're a player who expects yourself to be an upper league player, your team gets relegated. You get beat by a rivals team. You're now in rivals. You have to work your way back up. I'm thinking you just leave your team and go look for a different upper league team. And that's unfortunately what would happen. Like as much as team bonds and everything like that does matter, people will want to play an upper league instead of playing, especially with the the prize pool, right?
Yeah,
shoot your shot. So,
I mean, it's also a big thing is that like this kind of transitions into the fact that like the state of the game, like Zombie said, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to. If you're not playing DPL, why would or Rivals? Why do you want to play the game? And I kind of want to ask both of you guys this: if you guys weren't playing DPL, would you still be playing Due Process, or would you still be playing Due Process and Rivals? Bar like no.
I'm telling you, if DPL didn't exist, I would have dropped this game a long time ago. Like, see, I would like to elaborate on like why I think that because that is a core issue is game retention for a ton of players, and what it comes down to is like I think you and me had chat about this, Donut. Yeah. There is no incentive to play the game right now.
We did.
There's absolutely no incentive
besides DPL and Rivals.
Besides DPL, there is no rank. The rank system isn't even set up properly. You can't. There's no customization, right? But that's coming. Like we know that's coming, right? Like that's obvious. See, and and like people, why do people play these FPSs competitively? Because they get a rank and they can show it off and brag, right?
Yeah, like
everyone's competitive.
I have fallen into this trap of getting back into Counter-Strike and buying Counter-Strike skins, which I said I'd never do again because I'm waiting for DP customization. And Zach's
that's a lie because
no. Okay, no. Zach's in the chat saying I'm working on it, and we're not. No, like Zach, we know you're working on it, but we're just like we're waiting, man. We're excited, and so like this is no hate towards you guys, but we're ready, man.
If you do another free weekend, let me tell you, dude, as a marketing major,
major.
As your head of marketing for DPL.
I'm head of marketing for DPL. I'm putting that in my Twitter. Ooh, that sounds good, dude.
Please
That's
don't.
going on my resume. Let me tell you, you get customization, and you get ranked going. Then you do a free weekend on that big update. That's how you get them.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm telling you, you do free weekend. Coming into release of customization and an actual rank system.
Yeah. I've already told people like Yak and Zach that I'm buying literally every single Due Process skin or trying to that comes into existence. Zach's like $50 gold skin. It was like I'm pulling out that credit card. That debit card.
It's like that. It's like
Jeff Skin when. Jeff Skin when.
Card.
Yeah, Jeff Skin when.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that TikTok where he bangs the card. He's like.
Yeah.
I will legitimately buy all the customization skins.
Yeah.
But you can't have all these DPL tryhards buying all the skins, right? We need new people buying the skins. We need to get Fortnite kids' parents' credit cards.
Yeah.
In DPL.
Dude, just put
Hey kids, it's Ninja. I need to see your number on your parents' credit card. And the 3 numbers on the back, gamers.
Pay Ninja to just be on a YouTube video, and it's like, hey kids, check out this new game, Due Process. Go get your mom's funny card in her purse. Don't make sure she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then put the funny numbers on the front and back, and buy your cool new Ninja Due Process skin.
They need to do another free weekend where they have customization and proper ranking, and then they need to pay streamers to stream it.
Okay, I heard that paying streamers doesn't do much. Like that's what I heard.
It doesn't do much if you have nothing to show off.
Mm-hmm. But I think that the we can talk about this, but we really don't know the inner workings of mostly. And I think I do believe that when skins and when a progression system comes, I think that we're also going to see a huge uptick in competitiveness, because you're going to get a lot of new players coming in and going to get a lot of like kids. Like let's say the customization comes out 2 months ago. 2 months out, it's end of July. Okay, there's still like 3 to 4 weeks, and so to say the summer months for primary schools. They will literally just play the game for 2 months. Or for like a month. That's all, because that's all they will do. And so you're going to see a huge uptick in like new players that are pretty good and constantly playing. And so that's going to be very interesting to see.
I agree. If there is an actual way to flex your rank and to be like, I actually have a rank in this game, and there's actual ranked, I will literally like start playing this game.
Dude, if the leaderboard was live, and it would show like, what? How about this? You would get a patch that literally shows you a place on the leaderboard.
Imagine
that would be insane. That would be insane.
Like an Argus badge, or like a jacket, like a defender jacket, and just has your rank on the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that would be the most toxic stuff ever. Want to match? This guy's sitting there with number 1 on his back. What do you do?
You shoot him.
What's the plan,
that's such a drive. Like Ikazo would immediately go from like, oh, I'm playing this game like every day, to like he's running 8 hours. That's his new job, bro. Josh would not stop playing.
Like, 1 on his back, and then he literally just like 360 no scopes you and like keeps running. Like, what do you do? Like, there's no. Have you seen those copy pastas, dude?
Oh yeah, they're hilarious. I love them. Like Zombie gets his number 7 ranked badge because he's the number 7th ranked player.
That's how you know it's messed up. I'm technically number 7 on the leaderboard, and I'm not that good. But
you guys, okay? So about ranked, I think Zombie died.
Zombie may have died.
Probably died.
You're good. Do you think that ranked should be allowed to 5-second ranked? Or do you think it should be solo only? Like, what's
give you a choice? Give it the choice. Like I know I'm gonna say the like forbidden name, but League of Legends I think does it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can either flex queue with all your buddies, or it's solo duo.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be a level where with every game where everyone who plays everything. Like you're gonna have rank G, you're gonna have your fucking face at level 10s and whatever the fuck. I don't know face because I never played it. But you're gonna you're at high elo. You're all gonna basically know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not uncommon for game.
Yeah.
So I think we solo duo and a flex queue, because nothing sucks more than doing a solo queue and then running into a 5-stack.
But like that's true. Let's say you push out that update, so to say. You push it out and you get like 1,000 players. Is 1,000 players, let's say concurrent, enough to support that?
See so like that's what I was gonna bring up, because I do think that is a legitimate issue that has plagued the player count. But what you could do is you could start out with solo duo, and then more players show up, introduce that 5v5.
Yeah.
Later on, like it doesn't have to. There's so many things. I'm sure, I'm positive they have thought of this. Like, there's no way this isn't like, hey, if this happens, what do we do, right? Like, they actually think about this. And I'm glad that they are willing to take our feedback on what we think should happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, the due process devs, like, for all
amazing.
the shit all the shit, like, you could technically get, like, right? Like, they do get shit. Like, they do listen. They do truly listen. Like, when we are outraged about something,
they care.
It hasn't happened in a while. But if anyone remembers Refractor, man, like when you like and Prototype, man, don't even get me started on Prototype. But they did truly listen. So, like, I'm sure whatever they decide to do for ranked, it's gonna go through us first. It's gonna go through the cadets. It's gonna go through they're gonna probably do a general test with everyone and be like, do you like this, right? So, like, it's great that they truly do trust the DPL players, right? We have formed a relationship especially with Bard. Like,
Bard's like I cannot overstate the support that Gek and Bard have put forth to the DPL. It's insane.
I will say it's scary. It's really scary to like say something stupid like during DPL as a caster,
Yeah.
and then have Bard reference it in his like fireside chats.
Oh my god.
Like when I started calling lights out dark,
Yeah.
and he's like as the DPL likes to call it, and it's
Dark.
and it's
Dark,
like
dark.
man, yeah, dark is what they call it now.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird feeling, but it's great to know that they look at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they care about what happens in it, such as DPL, which is a really nice feeling.
Yeah, and you also have like people, and one of the big things is that every single dev that I've ever met, or like talked to, it really does care a lot. They put a lot of effort into them, and like you have the artist Zach. He does when customization comes out, he's probably gonna be reading the feedback on art channels constantly. If people like, oh, I found this spot in the map where it's where like I can't see it because this is too dark. It's like change, like they put a lot of effort and care. And Bar, okay,
was it Zach who got so upset like about like certain assets being certain way? Like, is it Zach? Zach, I think, is the one who hates parkour because he's like, that's not how that's supposed to be used.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but
like, that's not what I designed that for.
I don't know, but it's really very cool to kind of see, that like there's this care and there's this transparency. Like I don't think any other creative developer or creative lead would literally allow himself to sit in front of some very critical members of his community and on stream and just be ripped at, like I don't honestly believe any other creative lead that I've heard of, would do that. And so that's really insane. And besides those Bard fireside chats, dude, make those monthly. Like just have him literally sit by in a chair, a fake TV fire next to him, and just have him answer questions for like 30 minutes. That's content right there. I'd watch that all the time. Yeah.
What he needs to do is he needs to have his hands like this, or he needs to be strutting like a hairless cat, just like.
He needs to have the monocle.
That would complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get the evil villain vibes of from Bard. Bard can pull it off. Yeah. But yeah, I think the fireside chats are very transparent.
We need him in an Argus Corporation. Yeah. Oof.
That would be awesome.
I love seeing that, and especially like community hours, like the map making streams, A+ content from Pion.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait until someone makes like a full like cosplay Argus suit. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna look sick.
Dude,
like they get like the L.
That's
I can't wait. Or a Defender.
You just gave Donut an idea. He's gonna do it.
Defender cosplay with like the Nintendo glove that would have
the power gauntlet.
The power glove, yeah.
The power glove, yeah.
I have a friend who does cosplay, and for themselves. Like, and if there is, I'll say, let's say the customization comes out and all that, and I find something that takes my fancy, like a pink Argus, make it happen. I will get in contact with them and see if I can like make that happen. And the next convention that Gek is at, I'll stroll up suited in the pink Argus cosplay.
I really would love to see during a DPL day and Donut showing up in a full Argus costume and just.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
man, I feel like when once now that we're coming on the other end of COVID, like there's gonna be Gek's gonna go somewhere, and I feel like a bunch of us idiots are gonna show up, and be like, "Hey, what's up? We're DPL. We're taking this over now,
guys. We're DPL guys.
We're DPL.
We'll play DPL.
We're pro players.
We're pro players. We're professional.
Is this a LAN event for DPL? I play professionally for gaggle of idiots."
You get something like Fishy, or like one of the, one of the short young. You get like Fishy. He's like 6 feet, not like 5
Fishy,
feet.
the like resident 12-year-old.
Yeah, you have
hey guys, it's Fishy here.
Yeah,
and it's literally just not how Fishy talks, but good. Fishy. I would love to play.
Good.
If I ever have to go to a new team, dude, I'm building a roster around Fishy. Make that be known.
Let's say Gek does like PAX West or PAX South or another PAX. Like that's gonna be so exciting.
Oh,
I really do hope they announce that.
A ton of DPL guys are showing up to whatever next packs they decide to go to.
Yeah.
Fishy, you're short, by the way.
Just
165 centimeters.
Fishy's tiny. It's a walking toddler, dude.
They need to do PAX East. If they go PAX East, I'm going. To
No,
PAX
you know what
East.
I've noticed is that,
absolutely.
but like
PAX
kind of as we wind down, you know, like I've noticed that people in the Due Process community are either very, very tall or very, very short. You know, it's like
There's no in between.
yeah.
There's
It's like
have you
Bianco
guys
is like
like-
6'5", Xe is like 6'3", or like Volps is like 6'3", and then you have like Fishy who's like 5'4", you know, or something that's insane.
Well, that's the entire like that's like the Goy look. Like it's gonna be a bunch of tall people and then Rezi. Like everyone's over
Dude.
6. Basically, everyone's over 6 foot on Goy, and then there's Rezi.
If
Yeah.
there's a land, we need to get some team photos.
That
And
would
we
be
need to.
insane.
Yeah.
We need some team photos.
We get-
I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, you get Rezi kind of like laying across all your guys' hands as you hold him up, zombie, so you can
Yes.
finally kind of be as tall.
Yeah, exactly that, or like just him in the middle with all of us standing around him. A+.
Yeah, dude, but
Oh,
that would be so
man.
much fun coming out of it.
Excited.
I mean, like, I think I think we all kind of very excited for the future of the game. It's just that we have a lot of ideas on like how to implement that, you know. So we are very excited, you know, but we're also kind of skeptical and especially like, oh, what could this happen? Could this happen? And we all have our ideas and we're sharing them, and so everyone's having a good, hopefully a good time with the game as it is now, you know. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
the community is honestly great.
yeah. So I think like that's kind of it. And I mean, if there's anything else from Marbles from Zombie, I think that's it for us.
I think we got through.
I gotta-
conversations.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to say that Fierce is the best looking team. Like, look at Marbles, just such a cutie, and Daya is like cutie prime. And that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
We did go over matchups.
we did. Yeah, we went over like
We
the
did
matchups and everything. So
we have done
Dude.
everything. Man.
Dude, me and Dire and Stars, we're all gonna meet up and it's gonna be a bunch of cuties. The whole Fierce team. We're all a bunch of. Dude, we gotta get Feral too. We're gonna
Fly him in.
Gravy says Gravy's gonna take his boat across the
Across the
ocean, pick up Feral, come back.
of course, yeah. Well,
And then soon we'll get Marble Zombie hot tub stream going.
my
Everyone's
God.
gonna have to tune up.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes, that's gonna happen. I have a friend's hot tub. Secure.
well, that's it from us. Marbles, if you have anything to shout out, let me know. Zombies, if you have anything to shout out, say it now. But I think that's it from us. And thank you, everyone, to listen. Thank you, everyone, to watched. And thank you.